March 7th, 2018. We've got we're going to be going recess. We got to meet up with the Conservation District at 10. So I do got LaDonna, E911 Director. She's got a update for us on employee, new hires, so I want to get that taken care of before we go. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. I would recommend that we hire Alexandria Belcher to work at Marshall County E911. It's full-time dispatcher with rate of pay of $12.99 per hour. And if you'll notice on your paper, it says begin work date on 3/8. That's actually 3/26. And the reason for this is when I presented in the past few weeks, we had one that did not work out, and this is to replace that. This candidate's still in our top candidates from the interview session. So I would like to make that recommendation.
Motion to approve that hire.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next under guest, Rivercrest, Chad McCain is going to give us an update on the Oak Level water system. Good morning, sir.
Everybody have a copy of the status report that we submitted? Okay. Making sure. I'm going to hit the high points, and if anybody in the court has any questions specific to anything in the report, feel free to do so and tell you what I know at this point. Just in summary, Rivercrest, at the approval of the Fiscal Court, had worked with the City of Benton beginning last fall to do an evaluation on the Oak Level area water system owned by the City of Benton, owned and operated by them in that area. We did this, just as far as the history, I know y'all are very familiar with it, but we did this in an effort to find a little bit more detail of what's going on in the water system. Rivercrest, when we came into this, we downloaded the history of what happened with the construction of the tank and the purchase of the boosters pump station over there by the hospital, and we were asked to come in and evaluate the system to see what issues there may be within the existing system and what reasons there may be for not being able to get water into that tank out there off of Brazil School Road. Based on our evaluation, as far as the procedures that we performed, we coordinated with the City of Benton, went out there and operated any valves that we could find. Number one, just check to see if something's pinched off, something that might be restricting the flow out there in the water system that could be preventing the water to get into the tank or lowering the pressures in an area that they shouldn't be lowered in that area. Another things that we checked pressures at every hydrant. We did this with the city staff. We put pressure gauges on the hydrants, opened them wide open to check and see what the pressures were. We did that, one, to see if we could find any strange drops in pressure, which may be indicative of a water main break somewhere where nobody knew one existed. We didn't find any of those type of occurrences, but we also did that to gauge the water model that we had prepared a little over a year ago. We prepared a hydraulic water model using Innovize software, GIS-based modeling software. But what we'd found a little over a year ago was that our modeling data wasn't matching up with what the city operators were telling us they were seeing in the field as far as their water pressure. So we wanted to put two and two together and see where the disconnect was between what the city guys were telling us they were seeing as far as pressures and what our model was telling us. What we were expecting to find was there were some large restrictions in those water mains west of the hospital that were causing the flow not to be able to get to the water tank as we would expect. As you read down through the report, following our analysis and looking at the pressures in the system, we actually found that we were experiencing and seeing much higher pressures than what the city was telling us, actually more indicative, which closely matched the water model that we had prepared, which is very favorable. I mean, that's kind of what we wanted to see was, that there was some light, I guess, at the end of this tunnel, that water could be sent over there to the tank. In following up with that, we actually coordinated with Paducah Water. We do a lot of work with them, and they have a pressure recorder that we were able to borrow, and we coordinated with the city to put that pressure recorder at the hydrant located at the tank. And we monitored the pressures out there for 2 weeks on 5-minute intervals so that we could look at the pressures throughout the entire day for a 2-week long period just to see where the highs and lows were to make sure we weren't missing anything. when we did our pressure test with the hydrants, all we had was a snapshot in time. You could see what that pressure was at 10:05 a.m. on such and such date, or 2 p.m. on such and such date, but you didn't have a good picture of what it was doing throughout the day. So we put those pressure quarters on there, and the results of that were very favorable also. It showed normal highs and lows as you would see with water usage throughout the day. The pressures would drop a little lower when everybody was getting ready for work, most of the water usage going on, and the same thing in the afternoon. Pressures go up during the day when people usually aren't using a lot of water. So that was very favorable, looked like had good trends. And we also, as you see in the report, saw pressures indicative that we more than likely can open that valve and get water in that tank, in the tune of, being able to almost fill it completely, without a whole lot of changes to the city's water system. Now we know from, hydraulic, anything, you open a pipe wide open, especially a 6-8 inch pipe, you're gonna lower the pressures a little bit when you do so. That's why we have the comments in there about, the possibility of maybe having to coordinate with the city of Benton to see how they're operating their pumps at the water plant, see how they're operating them and the times that they're operating them, to make sure if this tank was put online that it could be filled. Based on the pressures that we're seeing in there, it looks like the city, as of right now, fills their 2 tanks that they have around noon or 1 p.m. every day, and they shut one of their pumps off, which lowers the pressure in the system after that time. It may be something as simple as keeping the pumps running for a few extra hours to fill that tank during the daytime, or running the pumps at night whenever water usage isn't as high, and then they could use those pressures to fill the tank at nighttime. So those are some things that we're looking at. It also may take some integration of some automated valves at their tanks. It's our understanding that they have an automated valve at one of their main tank. They're on the parkway, but it doesn't function properly. So they may need to have some improvements done prior to actually putting it in service. Because the tanks are at different elevations, they need the functionality to close off their tanks whenever they're full, so they're not overflowing one of their tanks just to fill another higher tank at the extremity of their water system. So those are the things that we're talking with them about right now from a coordination standpoint. The other thing in there, you see the tank has been set stagnant for several years, so would recommend that a tank inspector come out there, look over the tank again, and clean it, disinfect it and clean it before any water is put from the city's water system into it, just to make sure there aren't any health concerns with putting it online. I've talked with a local, I say local, they're a regional inspection agency called Mid-South Tank Consultants. They do this work all over the country, all over this half of the United States, and they gave me a quote of $3,500 to do that. They would fully inspect the tank top to bottom, clean it out, power wash it, disinfect it on the inside, and get it ready for service at the point in time, the county or whoever decided to do so. So moving forward, next steps, we would recommend that we just talk with the city a little bit more and in detail to see what improvements may be needed, if any, to their water system, to see what dynamics would have to be put in place, whether it be automated valves or pump run times to fill that tank. And at that point in time, I think it's really just open the valve to the tank. Once it's clean, disinfect, open the valve, and monitor how things go. We don't really know at this point how that would impact the system until you do it. Some of that stuff you just kind of have to do once you open the valve and see how the system's going to react and see which times are most beneficial. We don't have a full model. When I say we built a water model for them, it was a skeleton water model. So we've got a good idea of what's happening on the main branches of the system. But if a user, a large water user like the hospital, opened up a line and started using a whole bunch of water, and there are times a day where it'd be good and where it wouldn't be good to use the water to fill the tank. Is that clear? Some respect. All right. Y'all have any questions?
Originally, actually, that's kind of where the original work started. And we thought we had enough pressure to do it, but the city did not think so, and so that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I know in talking, my discussions with the city, there was a lot of fear in putting the booster station online.
It's borderline. It is borderline. It's close. You need about whatever. You said you could almost fill the tank, and you can. The tank, what's the height of the tank?
I think 100, I have it right there at the
100.
last page, a little over 100
That's what I'm thinking.
feet in height. 102.75 feet in height. And based on the average pressures of 41 to 46, that would get you in 95 to 106 range. Yeah, but the other piece of that puzzle, and the judge and I had spoken with the mayor about this, initially, especially, the tank wouldn't need to be filled, and we wouldn't recommend the tank be filled, just due to low usage. Right now, there's not a lot of customers that would be tied onto it.
What is it now? I mean, you gotta furnish the customer regulatory, is it 30 pounds or 35?
You need a minimum of 30 pounds of
30
pressure.
pounds is what the minimum used to be. I don't know
That's right.
if it's still.
Still 30, and then whenever you flush a hydrant, you want to make sure you keep everybody at least 20 in that area. So
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
there shouldn't be any problem getting the pressures, the minimum pressures. The main thing would just be the water usage. And I know in the Brewers area, that's an issue right now, and they're trying to extend water lines to get service on the tank so they don't have to dump and waste a lot of water. You know, so initially, I think for this tank especially, you fill it up maybe even only halfway and see how the usage is in the system, because you don't want the water to go stagnant, and then you have to dump the water because the disinfectant runs out, wears out in the water, and then you can't use it with the Meat Health Department and EPA regulations.
I know when we sat down with the mayor, they were actually gonna go out and try to identify any potential customers that they could pick up and kind of get an overlay of as far as line extensions and try to figure that mapping out as far as the cost. Can you get the customers that are needed? So when you do fill that tank up, that we're not just treating water and then having to dump it out.
Sure. And
I was wondering on the, and that was the Brewers, bringing up Brewers, I mean, they're working on a couple of roads, you know, and that's certainly gonna get that started maybe. I was wondering that, in that case, you studied that out there, and I was actually gonna ask them, hadn't got an answer, but, I was wondering if you just kick the pump off on that system, what the pressure is at Brewers. In other words, do you need to be filling that tower all the time and dumping that water? Or do you have enough pressure at the base on the main just for the customers you've got right now to just kick the pump off? And
Sure. Very good question. I don't know the answer to that question
I'm
right now.
gonna see if I can't get a hold of David or someone, let's see if he can determine that. I wondered for a while, you know, why I heard that they were dumping water, and I was wondering why, you know, they were forcing the water up in the tower. They've got 35, 40 pounds, you know, out there just with the olive tower, then they wouldn't even need the pump. So, anyway, I was gonna see if I could find out.
No, it's a good question. You know, and same potential exists out there. I mean, lowering the water level in that tank to half or less is what you need, so you get good tank turnover is a good thing. And we also talked with the mayor in Benton about doing something similar to what Jonathan Creek's doing. They're actually getting buy-in from the residents, and I think they've got I may be wrong with this, but I think they shoot for 60%. If they can get 60% of the residents to pay the tap-on fee before they run the line extension, then that gives them some level of confidence that they're not gonna run a line and nobody's gonna tap onto it. A little different than the sewer system.
We're to the point, I mean, the rural system, we've talked about this many times and gone through this, when we're looking at getting the towers, everything. In the rural system, it's really difficult to get it out there to where it's even economically feasible at all. And it don't have to make money, but you can't cost the water district so much that, you know, that it impacts other users, your current users, because from Johnson's standpoint, PSC, Public Service Commission, if they don't maintain a, you know, stable financial base, then, they'll force them into upping rates. And nobody really wants to do that. So, you know, it's kind of a difficult, balancing act that you have to make there. You want to get people the water, but you also can't break the bank, so.
Sure, exactly right.
Anyway, that's very good.
Wonder why they reduced the size of the pipe from down to 4 inches when he entered that metering device.
That's typical. They do that to increase velocities a little bit and to ensure the full pipe flow. Most of those water meters have to have a full pipe flow. So if anything they can do to maximize that, that's typical practice to reduce down.
Shows a restriction then. When
It does.
does.
It does show restriction. Like I said, most meters will have less than 5 pounds of pressure drop across them. I've talked with the city about it. and they do feel, even though they now, years ago, they didn't own and maintain that system west of that meter. So it was very beneficial at that point, because that's how they billed West Marshall for their water usage. Since they've taken over West Marshall, we asked the question, is the meter even necessary? But they like having that, so that way they can gauge the water loss on that area of the town and that area of the water system, just so they can see how much water is going out there versus how much water they're selling, and that's their gauge to see what kind of issues they got.
Big increase, they can look for a leak.
That's right. So I think there is some validity to having the meter out there, but doesn't look like it's providing that big of an impact to the pressures in the system. Any other question?
The next steps, I know that they've got to identify potential customers. And I know we're going to have those conversations as far as if there are potential customers. I know that there's a lot of people out there that want the water. Ultimately, it's going to come down to cost. I mean, we all know that. The one thing that I don't know is where the city's at as far as their budgeting, if they're even prepared to budget to move that project forward. That's something we're going to have to discuss as well. As a fiscal court, understanding that there is a need, and it's going to come down to dollars. We're in our budget cycle right now where the budget committee is going to be meeting, trying to budget future plans. So when we talk about our next steps, I think that we're in that window if we're going to be budgeting for next fiscal year. Any projects that we're discussing today. So that's something that I just want everybody to understand. I don't have those answers. I don't know if that was discussed.
I don't have those yet. I did touch base with the mayor this morning. She did say that one of her operators had driven the area, but hadn't come up with a quantity of customers yet or high priority routes just yet. So I suspect maybe next week we can have a little bit more information on that front. So within the next couple of weeks, we should be able to have an update as far as what lines may be prioritized, and then we can get some estimates together pretty quick as far as what a line extension would cost to start serving as many customers. Obviously, they don't want to run 2 miles of line to serve 2 customers, but if they can serve 20, then it may be worth it to the system.
Yeah, because I mean we're in a position to where we can support. I know it's Benton's infrastructure, but we're in a position to where we can support. But we have to know what the costs are so that we can get that in our budget. So I think that these next steps, the expectation is to find out that information so that we can know if they're in a position. I don't even know if they're in a position to make those upgrades. I think we kind of roughly, with the sensors and the valves, I think we roughly said about $60,000–$70,000.
Yeah, I mean, that's a rough estimate. I know the valves are about $10,000 a piece for the automated altitude valves that would go with the tanks. But as far as what improvements may be necessary at the water plant, I haven't fully divulged all that information yet. So.
Looks like the next step would be sitting down eyeball to eyeball with the city of Benton and instead of back and forth, just have everybody at the table at this point, and it's going to take both entities to make this project successful, isn't it?
And we have.
We have.
The judge
Yeah,
and I
just
actually
said
sat down
that.
with.
I mean, I'm talking about both bodies, the city council, the mayor, the judge, the commissioners, everybody sitting down and get the same information.
Well, we can do that as a governing body, but that's what I'm getting to is that we're in that window right now to get our budget prepared, and there's steps that.
Sure. It'd be nice to have estimates going into that meeting so that everybody's
Yes.
talking about some numbers and not just high level. You can get down in the weeds a little bit more about who can do what.
We had, of course, we got a very good grant years ago in order to get the 2 towers, and needed the 2 towers in order to really, expand. But, even with in the Brewers area, the extension hasn't been tapped onto all that, there's not that many customers have actually tapped on to that line. Of course, that's the deal. Even though you've got people that you do have people that want water, they all
But they'd want it when that well went bad.
But when the well goes bad, they'll hook up, and that's what happened back, I mean, this started in 1970 or 71, when Johnson Creek started out in our area, and I know my dad hooked up, didn't want to, but he did, because he thought it'd help, you know. And then for years, I mean, there wasn't nearly as many people, they stayed on their wells and cisterns for years, and then as those went bad and pumps went bad, they'd hook up, and then finally it's gotten to where just about everybody depends on it now.
Yeah, if you can get them to pay a tap-on fee, then you can get them on a minimum bill at least and start getting some of that revenue, and that gets them bought in anyway. It gives them some incentive to get off of their well.
When you have
whenever they
water,
got an issue.
when they find out that they'll have water when the power goes out and they've still got pressure and that sort of thing, that makes a huge difference then to the people that wanna use it, so.
Sure.
It's just a slow process, it really is.
I've got several just chomping at the bit in the open level area, because they hadn't been able to, their wells are full of bacteria, they're jumping at the chance to get on.
Okay. Are they located in groups? Do you know what roads those are?
What's Laney Fiscal Road? Yes, A-Rant, yes, there's several on A-Rant,
Okay.
they're really interested in hooking up.
Okay. That's all gonna be very beneficial when we sit down with cities. They're looking at the location of where customers would be best served or where, they'd be the most beneficial, but if we know we've got other issues, environmental or, health type issues, and it makes it even more a priority.
Yeah, all through this process, I've encouraged everyone to have their wells checked. The health department, they may recommend that they don't drink the water, but they think they may get themselves shut out or stop using the well. That's not the case. They can market and show where all these wells are, and certainly if you go to look for grant dollars, that can help if you've got a lot of situations like that.
Yeah, very much.
I've always encouraged everyone that I talk to get their wells tested so we can see where all those pockets of bad wells are.
That's how Jonathan got a lot of their money back over 10 years ago. They had a bunch of grant money that came through EPA, and a lot of it was due to bad wells.
Yep.
All right. I'll keep you all posted, and I will be discussing this issue with the mayor and trying to get their thoughts on lawn extensions. We'll get some estimates together and give you some feedback as soon as we get them.
Appreciate it.
Any other questions? Appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. I think it's time we need to recess to head out to meet up. Y'all know where we're going? The office is down on 5th Street by the old Heritage Bank, the Conservation District. I think it's in the USDA's
Joe
building.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I didn't know if we were going actually out to the location or
I
going.
think we
okay.
are. We're meeting there and then we're going out.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. We're gonna try to be back at noon. Denise, we'll call you when we get back. We have a motion to go into recess.
Motion going to recess for this.
We know where we're going?
Going to ASCS office right now.
Oh, but I can get them. Do I need my boots?
Is there a motion? Is there a second?
I'm not gonna go out.
Is there a second?
We weren't told that, so. Second.
Second for recess.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Go ahead and call Fiscal Court back to order. We had a good tour with Diana Angle with the Benton Soil and Conservation District on the 4 structures that they have. And I'll be following up with Diana. She's supposed to be getting me some information for the Budget Committee, so we'll follow up on some of the stuff we talked about out there. Let's see. Under correspondence, the Chestnut Creek Watershed, BMP implementation plan, they are going to This is for people that actually fall in the Chestnut Creek area. So we're gonna put this information out on our webpage and our Facebook page. The septic system repair and maintenance. If residents that fall in the Chestnut Creek area, they can actually have, if they have a failing septic system, there's monies available for them to actually repair or maintain their existing septic system. So all this information we'll upload on our webpage. So if anybody's listening or watching, they can go on and get the application for the septic repair, and it'll have all the information as far as what they have to do to qualify for those monies. So that's just to update everybody on the Chestnut Creek Watershed BMP implementation plan. Next is the City County Industrial Development Authority board members. Josh, I think all the commissioners, did y'all get his resignation letter? He stepped down. One of the things that he's gonna do is be an advisory to the board, just like the County Industrial Authority Board. Same thing with the City County Industrial Authority Board. So he stepped down. He's gonna be advisory to both of those boards. And in his replace, I have appointed Krista Solomon to the City County Industrial Development Board. And Ms. Solomon is a businesswoman in the district, or in the city of Benton, and she has accounting experience, so that would be a great asset for the board. So she's going to be replacing Josh on that board. Benton Marshall County Industrial Development Authority, TVA Invest Prep match letter. It's the same thing, pretty much what the Fiscal Court did last meeting. This is the City County Industrial Authority, their letter that shows support with the TVA Invest Prep that's being submitted. To whom it may concern, please accept this letter of funding commitment for the 2018 Invest Prep application of the Morris County Fiscal Court. Our board has chosen to commit $100,000 to the acquisition of property optioned for Southwest One Industrial Park. The industrial park development will have a mutual impact on both the city of Benton and Marshall County. We are excited to be a part of this project with the Morris County Fiscal Court for the benefit of economic development in our community. Should you have any questions regarding our board's commitment to the Southwest One Industrial Park project or our commitment to the TVA Invest Prep application, please do not hesitate to contact me at your convenience. That's the chairman of the Morris County Benton County Industrial Development Authority Board. I think, speaking with Josh, he's getting ready to finalize that application and submit that to the TVA. So he's had several people look at the application, and they've actually said it's a pretty good application. So let's keep our fingers crossed so we can get the maximum amount that's allowed in that grant application. Just another announcement. I got a call this morning. The CHKC World Championship Coon Hunt will be the 12th through the 17th. That's Monday through Saturday at Ken Lake State Park. Then those vendors will be set up in a tennis court, the tennis center. It's a great event that brings in several teams locally and across several states. Thursday, the 15th at 5 p.m., the Twin Lakes Coon Club will be giving out barbecue for any visitors or hunters. They'll be set up inside the tennis center. Everyone is welcome to come out and enjoy the event. And that's the 12th through the 17th.
Something along those lines, Judge. We had some of that old sorghum house up there at the Aurora Park. They're about to start their bow fishing season. They're having a tournament not too long, and some of the siding blew off when the wind was blowing so hard. And I don't know, we talked about, they're ready for that just to be knocked down and hauled off. But they need some cleanup, they need some help up there. In order to get rid of that, or we're gonna have a mess, I'm afraid, and we've got several events planned up there this time.
No, I haven't had any luck in retracing where we were before when we thought we had that cleared up. So what I'm gonna suggest is that we just file a quick, quiet title action and try to clear that up. In the meantime, I'd go ahead and treat it, because you've been in the county and that they've been in full control of it up there for all this time, and that's something that needs to be done. I'd go ahead and just do it, and in the meantime, we'll go ahead with the quiet title action.
Okay, because I know that was, the deed, trying to make sure that we got that.
We were just waiting on that before we, committed anything, but I know that, I don't know what it's have to see, but I hadn't talked to Wendy, but, I mean, it's just a small bit, I mean, they could have it knocked down and hauled
Yeah,
off.
she said she could do it in a day.
Yeah, just in a short time, if we could move forward with that. I mean, the pieces of it are blowing off and getting
Sure.
across the parking lot.
So, as far as having them up there on the property, that's not gonna be a
It's gonna
problem?
be a problem.
Okay.
I think
'Cause
the
that's what
more
we're
we
holding
do
up for.
towards that, the better off we are.
Okay.
We talked about that and take a backhoe and a dump truck one day to do that.
Yep.
Another update on correspondence. Been working with several leaders, pastors in the community. I got a call last night that basically hope and healing is what the event's been called. The school, we've spoken to the school superintendent, Trent Lovett. The April 12th is when the event's being scheduled. They were trying to get in different entertainment speakers mainly for the students out at the high school to help the healing process. It's going to be, they've got a committee formed. It's a long-term process, and this is something that they've just wanted to do for the community and for the kids. In order to get, bands, entertainment booked, they've got to have, obviously they've got their scheduling, but they've got to have commitment up front. I got a call last night that one of the main entertainment bands, Zach Williams, committed with two other entertainment bands, and that turns on the speaking engagement, trying to get an individual in to speak to get that commitment. But in order to move forward with this project, the minimum request from that band and that organization is to have about 500 tickets purchased to cover their cost. It's $20 a ticket. That comes out to about $10,000, and that's obviously the victims and their families will be able to go to this event for free. But if we can have a commitment from the fiscal court to support that, just so that we can get the booking, and then there may be some other dollars that will come in that might also help with that cost. But what I'm asking is for the court to support the $10,000 cost for this event, so that we can move this project forward. And obviously, if there's any other dollars that come in, we'll obviously apply that to that minimum cost.
I'd move that the fiscal court support that up to $10,000.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And I'll get more information on this as this goes. And update y'all. Old business, approve the minutes for February 20th, 18 meeting.
Motion to, approve the minutes,
Judge, can I butt in real quick? Under old business, F, it lists the building, this is the commercial lease, is 1117 Colonial Drive. That's Mr. Seaford's personal property, his house. It should list it as 107 B Street, Benton, Kentucky, 42025. So before you guys make that motion and approve it.
Okay. I'd approve that with that change then to the location of the building being leased.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Under, new business, we already talked about that. Marsh County Industrial Development Authority, bond payment. The board had their meeting. They're gonna have they're having the treasurer, get quotes for $200,000 bond. Obviously, with the board being newly formed, monies haven't been moved over until they get their bond, until they get their, bank account set up. But they're asking the court if we would pay the bond payment for the board. We don't know yet what that price is. I think ours is about $1,500 for a $200,000 bond. So basically asking the court to cover that cost for the County Industrial Development Board, the bond payment.
Motion to make that bond payment up, is there any limit or just to make that bond payment?
Well, if 1,500 is what we're paying, I'd say up to 2,000.
$1,000?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd make that motion.
You're bonded for $200,000. Our treasurer's bonded for $200,000, and Brenda and Karen are bonded for $200,000. And I think Emily told me her bond was, 1425 or something. I talked to Jerry Austin yesterday, and that was the ballpark figure. It wouldn't be over $1,500 for.
So, there's a motion for two. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The April 3rd fiscal court meeting is during spring break. Is there any discussion to change that? Didn't know if people are going to be out of town or if they're going to be here.
I'll be here, but we can change it however you want to.
So everybody else is going to be here on the 3rd.
Following week, April 9th, 10th. What's the date you're,
I mean, I don't know, is everybody, y'all gonna be here, I mean,
spring break week, I'll be here.
I'll be here.
April 3rd is our scheduled meeting.
You just checking to see if we had enough.
If everybody's going to be here, then
I'll be here, Doc.
No, I will not be here.
Okay, where you want to change it to?
That's, I'm,
Change it.
either side, obviously, after would be better for me. That, I'm good any day the next, any day the next week.
And we don't have to change it if we got majority of us going to be here. That's something else too.
I would certainly prefer to be here.
What day?
I just said, I've already said I'm good any day the next week.
Okay, 10th. Set it for the 10th? We need a motion on that, Jeff? I can't remember.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to move it to the 10th.
Second. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Just to update y'all, the salvaged water jetter, the sanitation district saw a need for that salvaged water jetter. They had communicated with KCO, and they could get that for $1,000. The $62,000, I think, for the price of the replacement for the new water jetter. I talked to Mike Gilligan, and he said basically that $1,000 will come off of the 62, so it'll be 61,000 that we'll get in replacement. But then they'll get that. They've got it. The guy that's doing the work should be done this week, but they can salvage that water jetter, and the district would have that piece of equipment for their needs. But I just wanted to update y'all. And I believe that needs a motion because it's going to change the replacement value of $1,000.
We are buying that, the court's buying that on behalf of the district.
No, the district's buying it for $1,000. The 1,000 is coming off of our 62, so we're going to get a replacement of 62. So the district's going to owe us $1,000.
I'm good with that motion to go ahead with that change. So it is a change on the, allowing them to have that for $1,000, then they can prep it and use it however. Yep, I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We've got the audit of the Marshall County Fiscal Court for year ending June 30th of 2016. Y'all should have a copy of it. Is there a motion to receive it?
Motion to accept the audit, Judge.
Second?
Have those, the report that I noticed that the 13 deficiencies that the auditor found were whittled down to 5, have they been corrected? All 5 are repeats and left over from the year before. Have they been corrected?
Which ones specifically?
All 5 of them were repeats from the year before.
Which ones? You got the audit there. Tell me which one.
All 5 of them.
It's on page 3.
Thank you, Johnny. Well, all right. So you look back, you got the response on each one of these.
Yeah, I looked at the responses, but I just noticed that all 5 of them were repeats from the year before. They weren't corrected the year before, so I just wondered if they are corrected as of now. I read the report and so forth.
Okay, so the very first one, 2016-01, on page 3. I'll read you the response. 911, GIS, and emergency management accounts have all been closed and should not affect any financial or budgeting reporting in the future. Currently, the Morris County Animal Shelter Donation Fund account operates with greater oversight and reports to the Fiscal Court. However, we are currently discussing ways to eliminate the court's responsibility for the account. What part of that?
No, I mean,
those counts were closed.
okay, but they were, these deficiencies were noted the previous year, and I just wanted to make sure they apparently weren't corrected, because they appeared again in this audit report, but they have all been cleared. My question was, they have all been cleared up now?
It's right there.
Okay.
In previous year, you talking about
Okay, they just
2015?
weren't the year before, just want to make sure that's good.
You talking about 15?
Well, the last audit where we had 14 deficiencies, and that were whittled down to 8 by the Department of Local Government, and then we had 13 deficiencies, that
Okay.
the auditor
I'm
found.
gonna read it.
But I
20
understand that. I just
26
asked if they'd been-
2016-001 is the fiscal year ending June 30th of 2016.
Correct.
So your prior is 2015, it'd be the
Correct.
fiscal
Yeah.
year ending 2015.
Correct.
And if you look at the response, 9/11, GIS, and emergency management accounts, all those accounts have been closed. We actually closed those accounts.
Okay, I'm saying they were carryover deficiencies from the previous audit.
I think you asked if they were taken care of.
Yes, but they weren't, that was my concern, to make sure they were, because they were carryovers from the previous audit, and then just wanted to make sure that that didn't happen for a third year in a row. So that's why I asked that. That's fine.
That's why I asked if you read the review, the response.
I did, yes.
Is there any other questions or concerns about the audit? Did we make a motion?
Accept the audit.
Bob made a motion. Was there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Appropriations transfer.
From appropriation number 0150854750, maintenance tools, fire replacement, the budgeted amount was $20,000, and expenses through March the 7th, 2018 was $23,915.66. So the balance prior to the transfer is $3,915.66 in the negative. So we're transferring $10,000 into that account, and the balance after transfer will be $6,084.34. And this is, these next few all have to do with the fire replacement, and they're covering with reserves. Then the appropriation number 0191005210 is county insurance. Budgeted amount is $337,425. Expenses through March the 7th were $337,682.89, leaving a deficiency of $257.89. So we're transferring $5,000 in there to leave a balance after transfer of $4,742.11. Appropriation number 0150657370, the voting machines, fire replacement. There was no budgeted amount, and we've spent $353,373. So the balance prior to transfer is a deficiency of $353,373. So we're transferring $400,000 to leave a balance after transfer of $46,627. Probably to cover other incidentals related to the voting machines. Appropriation number 0150853150, maintenance, lease, remodel, fire. This is a new account. There wasn't anything budgeted there, and so we're transferring $10,000 there to be able to pay the lease for the maintenance building while they're building the new building. And appropriation number 0192009990 is the general fund reserves. Budgeted amount was $3,070,706.17. And I believe we have already expensed through there $305,876. And so the balance prior to transfer was $2,764,830.17, and we're transferring a total of $425,000 out of there, so that will leave a balance after transfer of $2,339,830 830.17. Then in the road department, appropriation number 0261054750, road department tools, fire replacement, there was no budgeted amount there. We've spent $67,872.10, which leaves it with a negative balance of $67,872.10. We're transferring $80,000 into that account that will leave a balance after transfer of $12,127.90. And the appropriation number 0292009990 is the road department reserves. Had a budgeted amount of $742,171.14, and we have expensed $482,566.44 with a balance prior to transfer of $259,604.70. We're transferring that same $80,000 out of there, leaving a balance after transfer of $179,604.70. Then appropriation number 51601030 is the ABC contract employee. Budgeted amount is $20,800. Expenses through March the 7th are $20,153.66, leaving a balance prior to transfer of $646.34. And we are transferring $28,000, leaving a balance of yeah, somewhere there's a typo because this does not balance to zero. And I didn't do this, so let me.
Yeah.
I think she's probably transferring out of here into there. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be that we're transferring. I think it's just between the contract employee and the contract employee FICA, because the FICA is in the negative $119.71. But I'm not sure about the transfer amount. Well, I don't know. We don't have 3,200 to transfer out of here. So I'm
Brenda, what is that ABC contract?
well, we have one of the deputies that is the ABC officer. And so his base salary comes out of that, ABC money. And
One of your deputies?
yes.
Okay, that's it.
And I think all she was attempting to do here was that between the salary line item and the FICA line item, I think she was just moving some there to cover that. And I'm thinking something just didn't get changed. So I'm gonna say that the transfer is gonna just be $200, and it's coming out of, it's just transferring it from the salary line item to the FICA line item, so that's not, doesn't have a deficiency. So let me back up and start over, since I just noticed that it didn't balance. So the ABC contract employee salary line item, budgeted $20,800. We've expensed $20,153.66, leaving a balance prior to transfer of $646.34. So we're gonna transfer $200 out of that, which will leave $446.34 in that account. And the FICA on that employee, only the FICA on his base salary goes to ABC. The rest of it flows through to the sheriff's budget. Budget was $1,600. We've spent $1,719.71, leaving a deficiency of $119.71. So we're transferring $200 to that account, which will leave it with, I'll have to do math on this one. Leaving $80.29 in there. Sorry about that. Should have looked at it a little closer before I. So, and that's just an interdepartmental transfer.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
To approve transfer.
And then that transfers out, that zeros everything out.
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Approve payment of the bills.
Motion to pay the bills, Judge.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We've got opioid litigation update, so we need to go into executive session.
Go executive session for litigation.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
We'll go ahead and call Fiscal Court back to order. Is there any questions? That was opioid litigation update, AT&T update. There's no questions.
Is the opioid thing, is that what the gentleman talked to us about, he was signed on, there was several counties are dealing with that?
Entertain, oh, before I forget, I missed this. This is the proclamation.
This is the proclamation that the governor had given us for a day of prayer. And they finally got us the copy framed and signed by both parties. So we want to put this up here in the courtroom. I think we've already identified a spot for it. So just wanted to let y'all be aware of it, that they got us a copy of that. And we got it hung up here in the courtroom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there were several. Did Rebecca bring that down to you, or, yeah?
How was your meeting with the president?
Very positive, I think. When was given the opportunity to speak, I tried to do what I could to help Marshall County out as far as, Mike mentioned that VOCA, which is the Victims of Crime Act, and we met with those folks. And there's federal dollars that are available through that, and, make sure that I made known that we would like some of those dollars this way to help secure our building, help put more resource officers in there, and also looking at the aspect of putting mental health professionals in the school system, because I think it's a definite need.
It's quite an honor.
I was very honored that I was asked to be there. I hated for the reason why, but I wanted to make sure Marshall County wasn't gonna get left out, and I was there trying to get some help down this way if we could, hopefully.
Is there any other questions? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn, Judge.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.